Hello. We're going to cover the Project Drawing Catalog screen next. You get to this from the main menu by clicking on this icon. When you're in this screen, clicking on this icon presented this video that you're viewing now. When you're in this screen, and there's a lot to cover here, I want to go through some of the things that are not so obvious. For example, this is actually the runtime application menu. There's a different one that will show if this application was presented on a cloud server, and the information and icons at the top would be different, and it would present the same kind of features and stuff that are actually shown at the top here. These buttons will cover those. So we really don't need this menu system up here, with the exception if you wanted to navigate other than using the main menu screen or one of the icons that are on the screen, and you want to go directly to another screen. You can see that this is the full listing of the different screens in the application with a check mark on the current one that you're on, starting with the main menu down through all the different screens. One of the main things to understand is that there are different screens that are not really supposed to be directly accessed unless you're using the icons on this screen, where it says portals, for example, on the screen that you can see here, like the Project Drawing portal. There's actually a button on the screen to navigate to those different portals by clicking on the portal icons. Let's talk about the philosophy used in this application. When you're going to do a group or one product with all the drawings related and graphics related to that particular project, what you would do is create the drawing package title. In this case, I have some sample records, so I put a sample drawing package, top level assembly drawing for a 46-foot cabin cruiser. Now, what the idea is here, that we're going to have all the construction drawings to manufacture this yacht that's shown over here. Now, this is a small view of it, like a thumbnail size, and yet when you click in the portal, it's going to open to a full-size graphic. The next thing we're going to want to do is on the top level drawing or the end item, we're going to put in the 46-foot cabin cruiser and its manufacturer is Seagoing Marine Inc. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to put that information in because that's the title of the top level drawing. Now, when you do drawings, I assume that you have an overall top level drawing in your system that has a global understanding of what this application does, with a lot of narrative that explains what this particular drawing covers as far as that group for that catalog item. This top level drawing number would describe the part number or drawing number, in this case the drawing number for that particular drawing. There's many different approaches for using drawing numbers. I use several different ones in the sample records to indicate to you what they are. You should never have a drawing number that repeats itself as far as at the top level in this application. The top level is always the one drawing number here, and it is the top level item. When you add any new records as far as information that describe or are subsequent to the top level drawing, they will either be an assembly drawing package or they will be a subassembly drawing package. And below the subassemblies, there are parts that actually help to assemble to the subassembly, and the subassembly making an assembly. And in this demonstration, we're going to kind of show you that using the cabin cruiser. For example, we did the top level drawing, which we already know we have, and if I look in the portal, I see the actual drawing at the top level. I show the part number for it and the same information for the drawing package title and the drawing package name. I have the ability to go back to the catalog, or I can do next and go to the next drawing in the drawing package. Now in this case, if I click next and I don't get anything, that means there's only one drawing or one graphic that is in this portal or in this record. If I do previous, I'm going to probably get a different drawing package group level picture in this screen. But it does allow you to move through them. If you want to see what is in all these on this thing, we would list them in a list view, which will show them, and I'll show you the list view separately. Now, to go back to the previous drawing, we're going to go back to the catalog where we started out by clicking this button. when we go back to the catalog, the sample records that were included in here were created based on the top-level drawing design and the top-level drawing number. Obviously, in this case, with the number exposed and shown in color code so you can see what it is, you assume that this is the top-level item, and then any assemblies below that would be listed here with a part number and a drawing name and the type size of a drawing that they are, the quantity of drawings in that particular assembly group as far as that particular drawing is concerned, may have an A, B, or C drawing to it, or a numeric number drawing that attaches to it. But each drawing number could have possibly a different number, so you would relist them if they do not show this whole assembly untrimmed. And for example, if it were a different kind of a drawing and there is a number change, like the 2 started here, and this is the engine bay frame assembly, you would add that by typing that in here, and you would subsequently put each one of the different assembly drawings in this area. So it would be an assembly drawing for all the assembly drawings, the names of all the assembly drawings, the size of the drawings, and the quantity of actual drawings that are attached to each other that represent this drawing package. The next thing down is that we can repeat this information here for the next lower assembly depending upon how many times it has to be used. And what this is this the top level assembly untrimmed hull? In this case, the hull is going to have a fuel tank mounting, an engine bay mounting, a water tank mounting, etc. You can go down through all the different devices that are going to be installed inside the hull that attach physically to the hull that are main assemblies. For example, you may have a refrigerator, you may have a gray water tank or a black water tank. Each one of those things that are added, including the engines and the sub-assemblies below the engine, would be, for example, like the power shaft going to the prop. If it was an out drive or an inside drive, that would depend on what would be rigged inside the thing right here. Now I want to show you that this is a scrolling field here. This is a portal. So if you had additional drawings like this one, this is a different cruiser, but if you clicked on it, it would take you to that drawing package underneath the same part number. Now, since I don't have a lot of drawings because I don't actually build cruisers, I just use this as an example of having a second drawing from the same part number at the top level. And you can have as many drawings as you want that are top level drawings in a package at the top levels so you can see them in a scrolling area. And over on this side, you can add individual narrative about the drawing that comes off of the drawing, or you want to add your own narrative to it as far as information that you want to provide about that particular drawing. Now this can also be actual information that is put in there by a graphic. If you click on the screen and insert a graphic, you'll get a dialog that will pop up where you can actually pick from your hard drive the picture you want displayed in that space. And in this particular case, I have to cancel to get out of here, but it would put a picture in there, color picture maybe. So you may want to also include different pictures that show physical top-level pictures of this application that you want in this screen. That would be either pictures of maybe the top level down or the flying bridge in an actual graphic rather than a drawing is concerned. It will help to support and better understand the actual physical look and feel of the different top-level assemblies. This is something that's pretty hard to do when you have a drawing package period where you don't have the ability to add graphics. Now this is an individual drawing within a portal. Now actually you just have to go do the same thing over here. If you're going to add a new drawing to the package at the top level, you would insert the picture or paste one in from wherever it's coming from. You might have one in memory that you copied from a website and then paste it in here. So you could do that as well. Or you could have a picture that you shoot with your iPad or your iPhone and add that picture in here. While we're covering that, for any of the container fields that are for pictures, you can use the camera on your iPad or a physical camera that you take pictures with, and if you bring the pictures into the photo library on the iPad, you can insert them directly in here, or you can take them off the hard drive if this were a desktop application on a Mac or a PC. If you're doing this on the server or using FMGO on the iPad, which I recommend if you're going to use it on the iPad to use v12, you would go ahead and then click on this. It'll give you a different thing, and one of those is from library, where you can go out and pick the library image from the pictures that you can take with the iPad and paste them directly into any container field in this application. This field here is a little narrative so you can explain each individual picture that you're scrolling through. As you can see, I'll scroll back up and I have a sample of a seagoing vessel in this case, and you could put additional information and a scroll within here. You can scroll as soon as you fill the text in here. This will start you to allow to scroll it. As we said before, you access the portal over here by clicking on the portal button. The next thing we're going to talk about is that you can move between packages by clicking Next to go to the next package, and this is an entirely new record with a different package in it so that you can view a different package. In this case, we got an aircraft that we're going to be doing, and this is a Lancaster aircraft where we're going to have a drawing package and set of drawings on that. Then we can do the next again, and in this case we have a utility shed where the utility shed is going to be broken down. And the same thing goes for the next record, and so on as you add new drawing packages within the catalog. So let's go back to the original record by clicking Previous to come back to the parent record. If you wanted to see a list of all the current cataloged items, you would click on the catalog list view, and in this case you can see the 3 different drawings that we had in the package. And if you wanted to go to a particular one, you can click on it. It'll take you into that particular drawing. I will cover in more detail later on how those particular list views work. If you want to add a new record, and this is very important, you would click the New button, and the New button would create a new blank record that you would start doing the process that we just discussed. I'm going to go back up to the original record, so I want to cover that there. If you need to find a record in the entire database in the catalog or any other screen, make sure that you do not try to access it through one of these portals. Now, I explained what a portal was. It has multiple records that scroll, and you can use the scroll bar here once it's full of records to scroll down and add data. So you can put an infinite number of records in any portal. When you do a find and you go into find mode and you type in the name and you put in there cabin, say for example, and this is for a cabin cruiser, it can be any word that's in that field, and it'll find it when I click Find or Perform Find. When you do that, then you would get that information in the screen. Now, in this particular case, when I clicked it, it did not find that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go either Next or whatever and bring the record back. That's how I can get back to a record that was in Find mode that I want to view. So let's go back to the Previous or Next, in this case, Previous. And in this particular case, I actually created a new record, and that wasn't what I was trying to do. So let's go to the Previous, Next. Okay, now we're in this screen. What you want to do is when you're in this screen is you want to use the drop-down list and pick the top level item in this list from the drop-down list. And these will be in numerical order with the name of the item extended beyond it so you can understand what the actual drawing is that you're trying to pick from this list. In this particular case, we're looking at the 46-foot cabin cruiser, which is the sample drawing above here. So I would have picked that. What it'll do is it'll display the part number in this field in the portal, and this actually creates a child record within the assemblies. All the data that follows this is used to create additional record information at this level. So for example, the next thing I would want to do is I want to type in what the assembly drawing number is for the item just below, and in this case I use the hull assembly untrimmed, which in this particular case is the hull minus all the utility items that are added to it, like the fuel tank and everything that we discussed earlier. I would put in the size of the drawing. Now say for example, in this list, this is a scroller list on the iPad. On the scroller list, you would not be able to edit this list, and maybe you want to edit it on the iPad. I've added this feature where if you click on the underline button, you can come to this screen, create a new record, type in here what the drawing name is that you want to be able to use, and once it's in there, when you click the new record, you add the record, you would want to return to the catalog. If you want to edit these records, you can go ahead and click it and it'll change it. Then you can go ahead and edit this information to change it. Once you create and use one of these in the application, do not edit it, because being used, the next time you want to use it, it's not going to be there. So you have to add a new one to add a new type of a record in here. If there's an error in the way these are put in here, yes, do correct it, misspelling or whatever. Now let's go back to the catalog. In the catalog, now that we've created the next lower assemblies, all we would do is like we did here, we would add the part number of the drawing that's just below the Hall assembly, which should be the Hall assembly fuel tank mounting. And this would describe and generate the information for the next assembly. When you create these, notice that in the subassembly that there is a lower assembly drawing number and a lower assembly drawing name here that matches. You probably already guessed it. When you click on this, now the information from these two fields can be dropped in here as the subassemblies from the subassembly list. And what you're going to be doing here is picking both the number and the actual narrative that describes it to put it in the fields. As you add this information up here, if you go to put it in here and it's not listed, it's because you did not click outside of this field before you try to pick over here. What you want to do is click in any gray area, and maybe in some cases you might have to go previous next record and come back to have it added to the listing here. But it really needs to have somewhere clicked outside of the actual record to update this portal. Once you have that information in there and you want to go ahead and put in the type of drawing again, in this particular case you would go ahead and put it in, and the original list that you edited here is the same one that will give you a drop down down here. You would put the quantity per assembly. In this particular case, how many mounting brackets are there for this, or how many mountings are this things for the drawing hull? Are there one tank or two tanks? So if it was one, there would be one assembly. If there were two tanks, then there would be two, especially if they're assembled and installed in the same manner. If they're installed differently and fit differently or shaped differently, then you would probably need in the narrative haul right or left or some depiction to tell you which one your drawing describes. Now understand that if you add more data than fits in this field, it'll wrap around. When you click on the field, it will actually wrap around also in the fields in most cases in these drawings information areas. Now here's the assembly manufactured by. This would be a field where you would type in the name of the manufacturer that actually built the product that you're putting in. In this particular case, it would be the fuel tank mountings. This is the price of the item, and you will not touch these at this point. These are actually generated when you're in the portal. And we're going to discuss those portal information items when we go to each one of these individual portals. Now, once again, you can scroll these records down, and what happens each time you create a record here, and it will automatically add a new line to add the new or next record in there. So you can drop this down, and this is true on any portal within the application. So you would be pulling each new record as you go down to each new portal. Okay, as far as when you do a find in this particular thing, you're going to, you'll note that I did do the finds a while ago. When you do a find, it will automatically only make this the single record available. So for example, if I went to the list view, that would show the only record that I was just using in find. And this is true throughout the application where it's showing in list views, or in some other cases in a portal list view. It will only show you the records that you did on your last find mode. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click the Show All button if you cannot find the records that you're looking for on any screen, like a list view screen or a portal list view. That will return all the records that were done in the find to the current selection. So you'll be able to see them again. Okay, you do not, like I said before, need to use the menu options at the above, and do not change these icons or it'll alter the function of the screen below it. These are shown and they're not supposed to be changed for the view. If you get some kind of an odd circumstance where this area scrolls the entire screen, then this has been moved to a different place and it needs to be returned to display one record at a time. If you have any questions about this screen and how it functions, give me an email or you can chat online in the technical support area. Thank you.